Hello everyone, it's Ken Scott back with another video on USA border crossing issues. So I got my trusty mic here, you guys can check it out. So I kind of like it, it's the kind, I guess, similar to what they use at the radio station. So anyway, so I'm gonna drop it here on the desk and see if hopefully you guys can hear me. So anyway, I'm a senior US immigration law intelligence analyst at US Entry Waiver Services.com. And what we do is resolve all your USA border crossing issues. Now, there's many types of issues that have to be resolved, and you don't necessarily need a US entry waiver to resolve them. Today's episode is going to be about what we call September letters. And basically, September letters are, in simple terms, letters you get from Homeland Security that states that your actual criminal conviction does not require a waiver. Let me repeat that again. Your actual criminal conviction does not require a waiver. Now, the Batman pardon and waiver companies back east, they will tell you that every conviction requires a waiver. Well, if you guys believe that, then I've got some prime oceanfront property on the moon to sell you. Because hey, if they're going to make money off you that way, hey, why not, get a piece of the pie? But in all seriousness, folks, not every conviction requires a US entry waiver. And apparently, what I'm discovering is we are the only Canadian business that specializes in resolving these border crossing issues in that sense, specializes in the September letters. Apparently the only organization with 6 locations globally, 3 in BC, 1 in Washington State, 1 in London, England, and 1 in Yorkshire. I think later today, I will post the one of the London, England office. You can see me and Mr. Ben Archik come in, and we had to work on a kind of a high profile case. So I just get involved if it's high profile. If it's smaller stuff, I have my guys, handle it. But again, today's episode is on September letters. Before I get into that, I want to read something off to you. We recently got access to a bunch of, how can I say it, in-house material that the ARO uses to adjudicate and approve waiver cases. I've got the actual standards that they use to approve these cases. Trust me, folks, those items stay under lock and key. I don't even keep them online. So I do the old school way. Like, for example, let's just imagine this is a book. Now, if this book is on a table, please tell me, how can this book be hacked? If it's sitting on a empty table, can this book be hacked? Of course it can. So we do a lot of things old school way just for protection. And the standards for approving waivers, you can best believe we do not keep online. So it's unhackable. Anyway, what I wanted to get into quickly though here, this is something else. This is regarding the guide. What is this? This is regarding the wait time for approving waivers. I can let you guys take a quick look at it. Let's see. See, I always have to be aware of the cheap waiver companies. They're always trying to find a way to steal info from us. But this, I'll show you guys, this they cannot hack or Google. I know that for a fact. If you guys can see it. I don't know if it's clear or not. But basically, I'll read it off to you. As a general guideline, waivers of inadmissibility are not granted until at least 3 arrest-free years after conviction and or release from incarceration for minor convictions, such as yada, 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 and 5 years for more serious crimes such as yada, 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 yada. Grave crimes such as murder, smuggling, and yada, 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 sex crimes, yada, yada, over a period of time will not only require a longer period of rehabilitation, but also pervasive evidence of reformation of character before either waiver is approved. And there's some other detailed info here that I won't read out. So what that basically means is, if you got convicted in let's say, I'll give it 2019, and then you go to a waiver company, and they say, oh, I can do your waiver right now, and you were convicted of, I say PPT, which you guys know that means trafficking. So if you got a trafficking conviction in 2019, and you apply for a US waiver right now, let's say the border was open, COVID did not exist, but you applied for a US waiver right now, you will get denied 1,000,000%. Because I can almost guarantee you, other than us, your provider will not put enough rehabilitation in there, will not put enough stuff in there that shows how your life has changed. They'll likely slap it together, put in 2 letters of reference, fill the odds and ends, and say, here you go, take your money. And then when you get denied and you call them up, they say to you, oh, sorry about that. Then you walk out fuming. Then you call us. And I'm going to say, why did you come to us in the beginning? Then you're going to say, well, you know, thought your prices were too high, yada, yada. I said, well, you know what? Had you came in earlier and saw us, the price tag for this kind of case would have been $1,800. But because it's denied, now I have to undo every single thing that Batman did on your case. Batman is great for saving, I guess, Gotham City, but Batman sucks at border cases. So then you're probably looking at a price tag of, you might be looking at $2,600, $2,800 or more to overturn it. Now it will get overturned, but trust me when I tell you, it's massive work. So I'm going to take a sip of my favorite wine, Pinot Grigio. So guys, remember, you cannot apply for a waiver too soon, especially if it's a more serious crime. The higher the food chain, the longer the wait period, and the appropriate rehabilitation has to be properly documented. Now, like I said before, we don't go into detail here because we don't want competitors knowing the techniques that we use to get these cases cleared, because we can boast a 98 to 99% success rate. We very rarely lose. I think 2020, we lost maybe 3 cases out of hundreds. And 2 of the cases we lost were not even our fault. It was the fault of the client. The one case we lost, yeah, we could have checked it a little closer, but hey, the guy understands, you know, what happened. He's not mad. So he gets his next case done for free, which should be sometime middle of 2022, and he'll be good to go. But again, I cannot overemphasize, do not file for do not file for these waivers unless you've had enough time to go past to show that you're rehabilitated and other things. So I'm not going to go into other things because I'm not helping Batman out, because Batman can go save Gotham. He gets nothing from me. But now the main point of this show is on what's called a September letter. The September letter is a letter, let's just say it's this. It's not this, but let's just say this is the September letter. And it comes from Homeland Security. And basically this letter states that your particular crime does not require a waiver. Now you might say, well, Ken, I mean, you know, what crimes are there that I can get this letter for? Again, this is part of the same problem is we can't really put that here in the video because Batman will see that, try to copy it, take photos of it, and try to, you know, sell knockoff or markdown items at a lower price. And I'm not letting that happen. But however, you ring us up and I will give you or not just me, but we'll give you a quick analysis and let you know what you qualify for. If you do qualify for it or if you do not. If you qualify for a waiver, fine. What I will say is the competitors might say, oh, Ken, yeah, they said because I had a drunk driving offense to get September letter. I'm telling you now, drunk driving for alcohol only does not require a waiver. Now, if you have a DUI or unimpaired and you are high as a kite from smoking that, then it won't necessarily be on the RCMP report. And if you get a sharp guard who sees that and he says, hey, were you stoned or were you drunk? And you say, oh, well, I was a bit stoned, that's all. Well, now you just talked yourself into a waiver because now you got drug possession. Never mind the impaired. You got drug possession. got to be aware of that. So once you get the September letter, once you cross the border, then the actual conviction that you have will no longer make you inadmissible to the United States. But now, here's where it gets tricky. Let's just say you got a September letter for, I'm going to say, stealing a dog. So you stole a dog from Volcra. Sorry, you stole a cat from Volcra. I love cats. So let's say you stole a cat from Volcra, and you got convicted, yada yada, and we got you a September letter for that. Now, mind you, the cat you stole was a expensive cat, or one of the rare breeds. I think the Russian blues or the Himalayans, something like that. Those are beautiful. But anyway, so the point is, we can put together your packet to show why your conviction does not require a waiver. There's a bunch of inserts we have to put in there. We got to do an analysis, write up, yada yada. And then when the day is over, your packet goes to headquarters, which is the ARO, and they decide if you need a waiver or not. If you need it, then obviously they'll send you a waiver. If you don't need it, you'll get a lifetime clearance. So ignore the thing about the cat, because that's not one of the offenses I'm talking about. I'm trying to think of a good one. I should have just said burglary or B&E. So let's say B&E. B&E does require a waiver, but let's just say for some strange miracle we got a September letter for B&E. Well, because that September letter covers B&E, you would not need another waiver for B&E. But now you go to the border and the guard says, okay, you're B&E, that's fine. You don't need a letter for this. So, sir, have you ever done anything else? And you say, well, I don't know. What do you mean, sir? Well, I don't know. How much weed have you smoked? Oh, well, not that much, sir. I just smoke like once or twice a week or 3 or 4 times a month. Oh, okay. Why don't you have a seat? This, tear up. You just screwed yourself, because you don't need a waiver for the B&E, but now you need a waiver for the drug possession and the drug use. So when you guys get these September letters, you got to make sure your game is tight, so you won't get screwed from CBP, because they hate these letters, trust me. And they're not, they don't fancy us as much, but they hate these letters. So you guys got to be careful when you get these September letters. Now, if you're one of our clients, you get a September letter, then it's a different story, because we go over all that stuff in detail. And my people, 99.9% of the time, never have any other issues, because they know the game. They either they have street game, or we teach them street game. Because in this business, you got to have street game. And a lot of these other guys, that do this, they don't have any street game. They just got the books like what you see behind me, if even that, but they don't have any street game. In this business, you got to have street games, street smarts. You got to know how to talk to people. You got to know how to articulate. You got to know how to do your analyses. You got to know how to allow the person to feel comfortable. And you have to ensure that you provide top quality service. The vast majority of these other guys, they can't do that. They can't touch the stuff we can do. So, and if I'm sounding like I'm bragging and boasting, well, you know what? Damn right I am, because we got things that they cannot do. We have access to material that they do not have. And trust me when I tell you, I'm the first one to admit, they cannot stand us. Especially the nice mellow fellow, but they definitely cannot stand us. I had to toss that in there. So just remember, September letter, if you get a September letter, you do not need a waiver. Now, something kind of in regards to a September letter, if you get a denial, it is possible to turn that denial into a September letter, depending upon your offense. Believe it or not, we actually got a September letter for a guy that had drug possession in USA. And when I saw it, I fainted, because we tried something different. And we said, well, you know what? This likely won't be successful. He got a September letter. I could not believe it. But he got a conviction for, possession, and he got a September letter. Mind you, his case was very special. I don't want to go into too much detail. So again, I don't want to give competitors any edge. Another thing, if you're part of a First Nations band, you don't need a waiver anyway. As long as you're not Métis. If you're Métis, apparently that's not recognized by CBP. But I don't know the difference. I can't tell you the difference, the names of the various bands, but as long as it's not Métis and you're a registered member of that band, you can prove it, and you have 50% or more of First Nations blood under the Jade Treaty, you could have just literally did a drive-by on VPD and got convicted for it. Once you get out, you can cross over at Peace Arch and go to Seattle the next, well, let's say COVID's not here. You can cross over from Peace Arch, go to Seattle the next day. Border cannot stop you if you're First Nations. There's another provision if your parents are US citizens, or if your dad was a citizen born and raised, more so the dad, there's a way we can get around it that way as well, but I don't want to bore you guys with that. So bottom line is there's many ways that we can use to try to get you this lifetime clearance. I cannot guarantee you'll get it. We'll do our best. We'll give you our honest assessment. And if you don't get it, then, a lot of times what we'll do is, well, now anyway, a lot of times now what we'll do is we'll give you a refund and say, you know what? Sorry about that. You only got a waiver. Here's your complete refund. And if you want to come back to us, we'll do your next waiver. I've yet to see anyone turn that down, to get an automatic refund if they do not get a September letter. Now, mind you, that's a new policy we've started over the past 2-3 years. So that's not anything back in the past. So. And I'm trying to think what else could I cover here. I covered September letters. I covered about the waiting period for waivers. But I'm really, really stoked about the new data that we received on the criteria for getting a waiver approved. I'm hoping that gets us up to the 99.9% success rate, and it really should. It's a lot of material to go over. We're analyzing it in great detail, but the bottom line is when the day is over, you will get it. You're going to be cleared. The only offense right now that's really, really tough, like some of the child molestation type offenses are tough. They have to be processed a certain kind of way. Even those cases can be won, but I'm going to tell you now, open your wallet, because those cases will not be cheap. And it's not so much the fee, it all belongs to us, but those cases will not be cheap, just to let you know. So the sex assault cases in general won't be cheap, but if it's molestation, touching kids or whatever, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to be looking at 10 to 15K or more. Nothing I can do about it. It's the way the law is written, the way CBP, had. So you got to decide if it's worth it, to pursue that particular area of relief. So, it is what it is. But beyond that, pretty much anything else we can get cleared. And trust me, we've seen everything. So we have one guy, he's got literally a charge or conviction for almost everything in the Criminal Code of Canada. Now, mind you, he speaks no English. He had a translator, and he told us through his translator, he said, you know what, Ken, get us cleared or get me cleared. He says, I don't care what it costs. So, okay. So I told him the price tag. He didn't care. He paid it. Didn't even bat an eye. I said, oh, okay. He's cleared. Trust me when I tell you that was massive work. That's an understatement. But he's cleared. And we also got two other individuals. One of the guys, he always wants me to say his name. I don't think that's good. His initials are, his first two initials are AC. I would just say AC. But Mr. AC, he did 10, 15 years in the USA for certain offenses. He's gotten released. Now he's back in Surrey. And he is so happy that he is cleared. Apparently him and another gentleman, I definitely cannot say his name. I'll just say he's a very intelligent gentleman, as opposed to the opposite of that, if that makes any sense. But these two individuals, apparently, they have thousands of people who need this service throughout all of Canada, if not actually hundreds of thousands. So that's actually what's kept us busy, and it's kept us surviving through COVID, through this COVID. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I can't do a lot of my online activities and group stuff, yada, yada. We are way too busy. And for the one individual who thinks that I apparently only live/work in a mailbox small as, I don't know, so big. I'm looking around. This is a really small box in here. So when you guys come to one of my locations, you don't necessarily have to see me. You'll see me if it's a big fish case. Smaller fish case, you'll see Mr. Tran, you'll see Rick, you might see Mike. You know, it just really depends on what it is. So all my guys are good. I've trained them. They're, you know, the best of the best, loyal, great guys. One of them is rough around the edges, but he is what he is. So you guys want to see me, you will see me in a Surrey, BC location at certain times, depending upon who you are and what you have. So the bigger your case, the more likely you'll see me in Surrey, BC. The smaller the case, more likely you'll see Richard. And if you want to go to the Vancouver location, I guess you'd see Mr. Tran. So, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to find that video of the London office and post it. I'm likely going to post it in an hour or so, and you guys can see the actual London office. So again, we got London, UK, we got Washington State, we got Burnaby, Surrey, Vancouver, and we got Tallinn, Estonia. The Tallinn, Estonia office is up there on YouTube already. We got the, oh yeah, the Yorkshire office, that's up there. It's broken up into 3 videos. I got to figure out how to combine those videos into one. So I'm still new at this YouTube stuff, so bear with me. So you can see the London office, where you see later today. You'll see Yorkshire. You'll see Burnaby. I'm wearing a black suit in Burnaby and a mask. You know, it's kind of like a comedy skit. The Surrey office, that one is, we've got a video done for that one. That one we're kind of tweaking. We don't have one for the Vancouver location yet. But anyway, bottom line, I'm going to jump off here, but it's Ken Scott at US Entry Waiver Services.com, and give us a shout at 888-908-3841 or 604-332-9213. And it's US Entry Waiver Services.com. And remember, we're there when you need us.